I didn't know. I was going to get excited about the LG G5 this year, man. And I just purchased 2 Samsung TVs. Man, I would love to get a G5 for the channel. But we have to pump the brakes because we're gonna go out of business, especially after I spend my life savings on a 5090. Okay? So basically what I'm saying right now is that
My God wants money! Congrats!
exactly. Okay. I would be so happy if I can just break even. Let's let the channel grow and see if we can just break even. Okay, and be happy with the tech and make the videos. But yeah, I'm excited about the LG G4. But let me make this very clear. You are going to hear out of many reviewers RGB, OLED, RGB, Tandem, 4-stack, RGB, and I think that marketing is misleading. It's confusing at the very least. This is still a WRGB OLED, and it's not going to have better color than QD OLED. And let me tell you, I do not like the matte finish of these Samsung TVs this year at all. Okay? This is an S90D. It has a glossy finish. It has raised blacks under lighting conditions, which I don't like. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I am so excited about the G5. They removed the MLA. So now we have that awesome screen coating of the LG TVs, like my LG C1. That is back. And that's almost number one reason for me to get excited again about these LG TVs. So yeah, Samsung this year is putting a matte finish again on their flagship. And I really dislike that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it is going to be better than the G5 in every single way. So take that matte finish out of the equation, put that TV in a dark room. It's gonna be more colorful, and it's most likely going to be brighter too, especially, definitely, if you go to the service menu on that Samsung S95F, you will completely blow the LG G5 out of the water, and it's not going to be even close. So I'm being honest with you, I don't like the One Connect box at all. Completely hated the One Connect box, especially for PC gaming on the S95C, which I bought actually. I ended up replacing it with the S90D for a series of events. It was a long journey. Didn't like the One Connect box. A lot of issues and limitations that I didn't know for PC gaming. I've covered that extensively on the channel. Broken sound, most likely the S95F still gonna have broken sound, which is mind-blowing. It's unacceptable for the flagship TV. Basically, the back of the TV is plastic. It's like it rattles like crazy. That's still gonna be there. But picture quality, even with a matte finish on a black room, is gonna blow the G5 out of the water. It's not going to be even close, especially if you go to the service menu. Now, that being said, I am very excited about the G5 because it is LG. I love the settings, the calibration controls. I am excited to see if they have any new features available. LG has so much to offer when it comes to flexibility of image, like Brian Text Therapy likes to say. So LG has a lot to offer, especially for gamers. Now with a 165 Hertz panel, that is very, very good, especially if you are going to get one of these 50 series GPUs. For example, with a 5090, if I get 165 Hertz, now I can use frame generation 3x, and my base FPS would be 55 frames per second. It's so close to 60. That is awesome. So you get 55 FPS render, and you multiply that by 3 to get your 165 FPS on the G5 for gaming with G-Sync support. And that is such a big selling point in my opinion. We talk about the Panasonic Z95B, which is going to also have the same LG G5 panel. It's going to have much better build quality with amazing sound, active cooling with fans in the back, which is awesome. Panasonic accuracy, that's all well and good, but the Panasonic TV is 144 Hertz. So for gaming, especially PC gaming, G5 all day. It's not close. Like nothing else matters. That difference is significant, let me tell you. The difference is very simple to explain if you look at it this way. 120 Hertz, you get 8 milliseconds of persistence, 8 pixels of motion blur when moving at 1000 pixels per second. Oh, what that means? Very easy. You open the UFO test, by default is moving at 960 pixels per second. So approximately 1000 pixels per second. If you have a 4K screen like the G5, you have like 4000 pixels horizontally, 3840. So if you are moving at 1000 pixels per second and you have 4000 pixels horizontally, the UFO test is going to take 4 seconds to go from left to right. So at that speed, which is not very fast, so 4 seconds to go from left to right is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's that slow. So at that speed, you have, with 120 Hertz, you have 8 pixels of motion blur. Okay? With 144 Hertz, you would have 7 pixels of motion blur. And with 165 Hertz, you would have 6 pixels of motion blur. How do you calculate that? Very easy. I want to keep this video simple, but let's get into it. It's not that difficult. So basically, you divide 1 divided by 165 because you have 165 frames per second. And to get that result in milliseconds, you multiply that by 1000 and you get 6 milliseconds of persistence. It's a sample and hold display. Based on the Blurbuster's law, motion is limited by persistence, meaning the motion cannot be better than those 6 milliseconds of persistence. So that's how you get to those numbers. So my point is, if you're going to get a 50 series GPU, you get the G5, that's going to be awesome. And I am getting a 50 series CPU. I'm getting the 5090, so I would like to get the G5. Okay. But yeah, I'm very happy with my S90Ds. Awesome display, so and I got it for a very good price. I don't recommend anyone to buy the TVs day one. If you wait 1 year or less, you get it for half the price. So these TVs at release, they are way, they are overpriced for sure. Everyone knows that. But some people don't care about the money. So if you don't care about the money, you're one of those people that have the money to get the 5090. I am not. I'm donating my life savings to Jensen. But if you're one of those people, you just go for it. It's going to be, I think, an awesome TV. Now, the other risk is new technology, force stack tandem. We don't know if it is going to be more likely to burn in or be have other issues that we're not aware of. Now, I don't think so because it is more efficient, as we will see on this video from HD TV Test. And they, instead of keeping the same power, they are actually lowering the power in 20% because it is more efficient. And it's still brighter if they do that. That is so terrible. I will talk more about that when we react to the video. So that's my take right now. Very excited. So let's check this out, okay?
I never thought this day would come so soon, but I've just measured the first OLED TV panel to hit 4000 nits. Let me show you. This is a...
Wait. How is he measuring the brightness? I have an app on my phone. It's free. It's called the Looks Like Meter app. And I point that to the TV and I can measure it very easy. I don't need LG to fly me to their headquarters. I just go to a store with the app, measure the brightness, easy. So let's see what he's using to measure that.
the Konica Minolta CS2000 spectroradiometer that cost more than my videographer's annual salary. And
He loves to flex his high-end equipment. Look at this thing. Holy, this probably like, I don't know, $60,000? Something crazy for sure.
2000 spectroradiometer that cost more than my videographer's annual salary. And when I measured the latest 4th generation OLED TV panel from LG Display on a 3% window, it returned a figure of just above 4000 nits.
So now, I don't understand why he cannot say the LG G5. So he says a 4th generation OLED from LG or whatever. Why not? It is the G5. We all know that. So why not? Well, the thing is, you're getting 4000 nits on a 3% window, but we're talking about vivid mode. So that is with a very cool color temperature. Okay? So that's not with D65. That's not with the settings that you would actually end up using. So let's keep watching.
Granted, this was in vivid mode at panel native white point. Nevertheless, it's still the highest peak brightness I've recorded from any OLED television.
Now let me tell you something else. When it comes to a cooler color temperature with WRGB, I actually don't like that at all. I don't like cooler color temperature, but especially with my LG C1, I love blue light killer settings. So I go all the opposite. I go warmer than 6500K because my eyes appreciate that. And that was one of the biggest surprises for me. When I got this QD OLED, I thought, oh, it has a blue, OLED in the back, so maybe blue, my eyes don't like it and it's going to be more harsh to my eyes. And actually it is all the opposite. With these QD OLEDs, I am not using blue light killer settings because I don't need them. They look so easy to my eyes, even when they are very bright. And sometimes I can feel that, especially when I'm looking at test patterns and changing the settings. Test pattern is kind of eye-searing. But when I'm using the TV, it's not as difficult for me to, basically I don't get as tired. My eyes don't get as tired. It is less aggressive to my eyes. So definitely with these WRGB OLEDs, I'm not sure about Tandem. Maybe it's going to appear completely different. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Especially with these WRGB OLEDs, you definitely want, at least myself, I would definitely want to have it at 6500K, if not even warmer than that. So those 4000 nits completely irrelevant. That's my point.
Throughout my career so far. And unlike the boost mode implemented on certain mini LED TVs, the increased light output transferred across nicely to real-world content too.
That's a big difference. And knowing him, that's probably content that is, graded to take advantage of the TV. Or LG has very good tone mapping. So the tone mapping on the LG is going to always, choose the best target to give you the brightness. So this is a big difference. You can clearly see this is probably the G4. So this is a G5 and this is a G4. Big difference. You can see the yellow here is a lot brighter. You can see this light here is brighter too. This jacket is a lot brighter, more colorful too. So yeah, it is impossible to really see the difference through a YouTube video. Definitely not through a video of a YouTube video. But cameras are very good at picking up the brightness differences. So sometimes it's even easier to see if one TV is brighter than the other if you record it, if you actually see it in person, because we're not very good at detecting brightness differences if they are not big enough.
As you can see in this side-by-side.
Also, these flowers here in the background, they are colorful. Violet, red flowers, they look so much better here on the G5. This is the G4. Okay, the G4 is already bright. This is a G5, big difference. So that's a reason to get excited.
As a comparison against last year's 3rd generation OLED with Meta technology too. both showing HDR clips that have been graded to 4000 nits.
There you go.
Of course, those of you who have been following this channel may know that last year, Sony started shipping its new HX3110 mastering monitor that's establishing itself as the instrument of choice.
There we go, the instrument of choice, the mastering monitor. Let's see if he says a price.
For creating and grading 4000 nit HDR content, demonstrating a keen understanding of what matters to video professionals and enthusiasts.
So he didn't drop the price. That's like $30,000, $40,000, something crazy like that. Yeah, reference monitor has very good strobing, by the way. It has, I don't know if it's flashing the whole screen or if it's doing the rolling scan, but I think it's improving the motion 4x. And even with that flickering to improve motion, you still get 1000 nits. So you drop from 4000 nits peak to 1000 nits peak brightness, and full screen should be like 250 nits. So that's the reference monitor. You get like 60 FPS. It looks like 240. You still have 1000 nits peak brightness and 250 nits full screen. That's based on my calculation, based on a graph that FOMO shared, that Sony shared with him about the reference monitor, the Sony HX3110. I would love to play a game on that monitor, but it's ridiculously expensive, and probably the input lag is very high too. It's not designed for gaming, I understand that, but still pretty nice. It's 120 to 120 hertz.
LG Display thoughtfully switched its 4th generation OLED TV panel to the 65 watt point and compared it side by side with the 2024 television using.
Now here's the thing. From this video, I can clearly see that this is a QD OLED and this is a G5. And the reason is I know how QD OLEDs look on camera, how they appear on camera. They are going to look more magenta, reddish, and WRGB is going to look more like green. The reference monitor doesn't have that issue at all. The reference monitor looks more natural on camera. Of course, in person, in front of you, that's not a big problem. They will still appear different. But let's say the camera is amplifying the way that they look. Now still, WRGB OLED, I love the color and how natural QD OLED looks, through RGB. It's better. But this is still going to be, I think, a great display. Yeah, this is probably the Samsung S95D, most likely.
Competing OLED panel type, benchmarked.
So think about this. LG flew him. So, for him to do this video, measure and all that. So this is probably the S95D, but they don't want to do the marketing, against Samsung. They don't want to be. They want to be more politically correct or whatever. But yeah, that's most likely the S95D.
Against a Sony HX3110 reference monitor. When displaying these HDR snippets, which have been mastered to 4000 nits, LG Display's brighter 4th gen OLED panel provided a closer and more accurate match to the HDR presentation on the reference monitor
and we can see the G5 is brighter than this. That's obviously what they're trying to show. It is closer to the reference monitor. It's still not as bright, but it's very good. Here is definitely brighter, and the S95D is a very bright TV, so that's very impressive.
Monitors.
So here on this shot, for example, the blue on the reference monitor appears so much better on camera. It's not even close. This doesn't look the same, but maybe because it is more saturated or inaccurate. I don't know. But let me tell you, the color blue, if you use the mobile app to measure the brightness, the color blue usually is very dim. It appears bright, but when it doesn't measure very bright. I think full screen blue on this Samsung QD OLED is 40, 60 nits, something like that. It's very low. When you compare that with yellow, for example, you can get a lot brighter, color. Now, the thing is, given the same nits, if they measured exactly the same, our eyes will perceive the colors, the color brightness differently. So let's say you have 40 nits blue and 40 nits yellow. Blue is going to appear brighter than yellow. So for them to appear exactly the same brightness, they need to be different in brightness. So that's something very interesting. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this yellow-blue might not be affecting the ABL. It might not be hitting the ABL as hard. And that's the reason why the G5 here with this cloud looks so close to matching the reference monitor. Because you have all this is shadow, so that's not pushing the ABL at all. This is blue, which might not, maybe it is pushing the ABL, but maybe not. But that's why probably you have this so close in comparison with the previous shot we saw. But yeah, it's definitely brighter than this QD OLED for sure. He's not saying it's a QD OLED, but yeah, I think it's the...
LG Display's brighter 4th Gen OLED panel provided a closer and more accurate match to the image.
So
now, if you remember my technology to OLED with MLA plus
okay, here we go. Here's the marketing of the new
Display's previous generation of Meta technology to OLED with MLA plus panel measured 3000 nits on a 3%.
So that is the... Whoa.
This field goal, they've gifted them 10 points. Exactly.
Yeah.
I can go on.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait. I step on top of the remote. I step on top of the remote.
Primary.
Okay, so let's... Oh, now, look at this. I'm glad this happened. You see what's happening? I was on console mode. And now he's detecting... See, this is messed up from Samsung. If it was console mode and I go back, it should stay console mode now. He's detecting PC mode, and I have to go back here and manually select again. See, it's so messed up. It's like a bug.
The technology.
But yeah, you get the idea.
In 1 year, from a 3-stack to 4.
So what I was gonna say, this is here you go. Here's the marketing that they're going to be throwing around for the G5.
So nits within 1 year. The answer lies in about 33 Korean previous. If you remember of Meta technology to OLED with MLA plus
So basically, MLA is dead.
panel measured 3000 nits on a 3% win.
So basically, the G3, G4 on a 3% window with vivid mode, it was measuring 3000 nits, and we all know those the G3 and G4 are not that bright.
Though in vivid.
So that's important to know. So basically, the jump was from 3000 to 4000 nits. So you get the percentage jump. And we can infer what is the actual brightness that you will get when you're using the TV.
But so how has the South Korean OLED panel manufacturer increased HDR peak brightness by a sizable 33% to 4000 nits within 1 year?
Okay, so 33% increase. Let's think about that. The G4 using HGIG for gaming is 1500 nits, approximately. So what is 33% more? So 33%, if you multiply 33 by 3, you get 99, approximately. So 33% more is like, let's divide 1,500, you divide that by 3, you get 500, 500, 500. So 33% more is another 500. So 1,500 plus 500, that's like 2,000 nits. So the G5 most likely will have HGIG clipping at 2,000 nits, and it will have 2,000 nits peak brightness on game mode with more accurate settings like Warm 50 with all your regular LG settings. That's the brightness. It's not 4,000 because as you can see for the G3 and G4, what they hype was basically 3000 nits on vivid mode. That's irrelevant. The actual brightness is like 2000 nits.
The answer lies in going from a 3-stack to 4-stack structure in terms of OLED light emission layers. This is
important. So previously, this 3-stack or 4-stack, that is what's behind the subpixels. So you still have WRGB, but this is what's behind. This is what's pushing the brightness. before we had this yellow, red layer here, green, whatever. It's like a sandwich. It was together in the middle. Now, with this 4 stack, so this was the 3 stack on the G3, G4. Now with 4 stack, this is what we get.
From a 3 stack to 4 stack structure in terms of OLED light emission layers.
So basically you went from 3 stack and now it is 2 more. So basically you're separating the green and the red, so you get a higher color purity. Okay? That's pretty good.
Dubbed primary RGB tandem technology by LG.
You see, this marketing here, this is so confusing. The first time I heard about this from Panasonic, I was like, man, that's a RGB OLED. And it's not. It is not RGB. It's a WRGB OLED. Very important to have that clear. Whoa. What happened here?
Display. Previous WOLEDs from LG Display used a 3-stack configuration with a single integrated red, yellow, and green layer sandwiched between.
See, red, yellow and green sandwiched together there. That's why the wave was not as distinct.
Between 2 blue layers. By re-engineering the middle layer into separate red and green layers, LG Display has upgraded to a 4-stack design comprising a red layer, 1 green layer, and 2 blue layers. Hence, primary RGB tandem, which brings several visible benefits. 1. The introduction of distinct red and green layers in place of a combined layer enhances the luminous efficiency of the overall stack.
There you go. That's the important part. You see that difference.
Contributing to a 33% gain in HDR luminous efficiency
Let's look at that again. This is the improvement with the 4 stack right here.
of the overall stack, contributing to a 33%.
Let's look at that again. That's the improvement from this to this. That's it. That's how you get the improved color gamut, which we're gonna see now.
33% gain in HDR peak brightness, now capable of reaching 4000 nits in vivid mode. 2. Reconfiguring the OLED elements into separate red, green, and blue emission layers increases the color purity. And together with the blue phosphor being updated to the latest version, the spectral wavelengths are now more focused, paving the
Now QD OLED is even better and even more focused and even more distinct. Like this is not like this green here and yellow together. It's more like more green. It's more individual. So that's better. It's RGB additive color. It's better.
way for a wider.
Better than this. QD OLED, better than this, still. But it's an improvement. So that's good. I like the improvement.
Color gamut. On an early sample of the 4th Gen OLED panel, we measured a REC 2020 coverage of 83%.
That is good. That is very, very good. So we're talking about like almost a plus 10%. Let's say a plus 8 or 9% increase in REC 2020 coverage. That's very good. That's very, very good improvement. That's an actual improvement. I like it. I like that idea. That's actually one of the reasons why I was excited to make this video.
A notable step up from previous WOLEDs, which
Previously it was like, there you go, 75-47. So from 77% at best, you go up to 84. That's good. That's nice. Now QD OLED is like 91, even almost 92% REC 2020. And now we have the trichroma, mini LED RGB backlight from Hisense, and Samsung is also using that technology in one of their TVs, and that has even higher, even better color saturation. But of course, it's mini LED, you get blooming, and probably for gaming, the input lag is not the best, or the picture quality is not the best with the lowest input lag. You get some blooming still, so yeah. But it's gonna be super bright, like 10,000 nits. But that's the state when it comes
typically
to the
hover
colorfulness. That's what we have.
around the mid-70s. Last but not least, since each OLED emission layer is driven individually, distributing the electrical current load across 4 layers instead of 3 helps.
I don't like that. See, that's wrong. Big time wrong from LG. Why would you lower the power, bro? If it is more efficient, give me more brightness. Don't lower the power. That doesn't make any sense. You know, this idea of trying to save the planet with a $3,000 TV, that doesn't make any sense, bro. I'm getting the 5090 and I'm using all the power. Okay, and if actually I have to get a new power supply, most likely, to overclock that thing. If I don't care if my PC is using 1,000 watts. I don't care if the TV is 3, 4, 5, 600 watts. My Pioneer cooler right here in front of me, that's like almost 600 watts. Okay, that's a 5090 right there. Okay, so I don't care about the power consumption. These regulations and this thing trying to lower the power all the time, it's just nerfing the performance of the displays and giving you more aggressive ABL, less full screen brightness, less impact, less HDR. It makes no sense. If it is more efficient, at the very least, keep the power the same and give me more brightness. Why are they doing this? Most likely, so next year they can increase it 20% and give you more brightness. It's that simple. That's why. They just nerf it intentionally so they can give you more next year. They are basically spoon feeding us. Just a little bit more performance. You got 144 hertz, now 165. And the next year we'll give you 180. And next year we're going to give you 240 and like so. That's how it goes. Oh yeah. A little bit of a rant.
Reduce power consumption by up to 20% according to LG Display.
Wrong.
And
Big
what
time,
surprised me the most was that these improvements on the 4th Gen OLED panel, the higher luminance, the wider color gamut coverage, and the lower power consumption were all achieved without MLA or micro lens array technology.
No, the good thing is that it might be less likely to burning because of that. But I don't care, man. Let it burn. I don't care. It's like, is it going to last, instead of lasting 10 years, it's going to last 9 years or something? Like, something else on the TV is going to break, like, before burning becomes a problem. It just doesn't make any sense.
Which explains why in the presence of ambient light, blacks actually look inkier, however slightly, compared to last year's MLA OLED panel.
Very important. Very important. That's one of the reasons why I'm very excited. We got the blacks back.
Surprisingly, the difference in ambient contrast is even more pronounced when comparing LG Display's primary RGB Tandem OLED.
Look at this. This is G5, probably the S95D or any QD OLED. This looks terrible in comparison. I'm sorry, I have two QD OLEDs. I love QD OLED, but under lighting conditions, you don't have an OLED. And it's that simple. That's why I'm excited about the G5. If you have any lights in the room, G5, it's not even close.
OLED to its main competitor in OLED panel technology.
And on top of that, a matte finish. That's like the ultimate contrast killer. That's basically an office monitor right there. That's an office monitor.
In a pitch black room, both OLED panels display comparable black level and shadow detail, with any tint differences attributable to our camera sensor reacting differently to each panel's unique spectral output. However, once I switched on some dimmable ceiling lamps and gradually made the room brighter, you can see that the 4th Gen OLED managed to retain impressive black.
Look at that crap. Look at this thing, man. This is just horrendously bad, man. This is not black at all. It just looks like magenta red. Of course, on camera it looks even worse, but the thing is, this is just a washed out mess. And on top of that, Samsung wants to put a matte finish on that to make it even worse. Okay? So this is what we're looking for. This is why I'm excited about the G5. We got the blacks back. I love the way my C1 looks. But of course, it doesn't come even close to the colorfulness and brightness of these QD OLEDs. But if we get some of this colorfulness and even brighter, then, or maybe even equally as bright, but then you get this advantage here. This big difference. It's the reason why you get an OLED, to get perfect blacks, perfect contrast. This is not an OLED on a bright room. This is an LCD monitor, an office monitor, basically.
Retain impressive black depth contrast and
Yeah,
color
look at that.
fidelity,
Big difference.
whereas blacks on the other OLED appear
Huge
visibly grayer,
difference.
diminishing the image contrast and washing out the colors on screen.
Absolutely.
The final demonstration I witnessed during my visit to LG Display's R&D office in Seoul was a side-by-side comparison against the best 2024 mini LED TV.
I see. I don't like that one. The best 2024 mini LED TV, what is that? The Bravia 9? That's not the brightest mini LED, and you're comparing brightness. I don't like that. So if you're going to compare brightness, mini LED shines with a higher, APL, higher full screen brightness, basically, less ABL. If you're going to compare that with a mini LED, you don't compare that with the Sony Bravia 9 because it is not the brightest mini LED. It's not even close. It's bright, but it's not the brightest. Or even if it was the brightest, this is just, it feels wrong. There's something off here. I don't like this because we know there's no way the G5 is going to be brighter full screen than a mini LED TV. The only case, a scenario where the G5 will be brighter than a mini LED is if you have very small HDR highlights. Because mini LED, to prevent blooming, so if the background is black, to prevent blooming on a dark scene, for example, it's not going to give you all the brightness for those small highlights because it looks bad. The blooming would be more visible. So that's where OLED is going to blow out of the water mini LED when it comes to that very small, let's say Christmas trees or like stars. You have everything black and you have stars, so very small highlights. We know that. But when it comes to just daytime, full power brightness, less ABL, more full screen brightness, it's not even close. I don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. There's something off about this part right here. And yes, they're saying they're both in vivid mode, but the only information I'm not getting from this video is the full screen brightness of the G5. I don't know why they didn't want to give that, but we know it is not 700 nits. It is not 1000 nits, so it cannot be better than mini LED showing you this kind of scenes. Something is off here that I don't like that.
A testament to the confidence the OLED panel maker has in the brightness performance of it.
Again, this should be brighter on the mini LED. It should be. I don't know what's going on there.
Its primary RGB tandem OLED. While mini LED is widely acknowledged to be brighter than OLED on full screen.
Look at that. Most of the screen is white. How can the G5 be brighter than the mini LED? Something has to be off there. I don't like this.
In white, LG Display's 4th generation OLED had no problem keeping pace in these HDR sequences containing a mixture of bright and dark areas, frequently delivering more.
If this is the Bravia 9 and the G5 is this brighter, the Bravia 9 is trash. Okay, it's not the best mini LED of 2024. It cannot be. It cannot be.
Impactful highlights thanks to OLED's pixel level illumination control. Furthermore, in many low light scenes, the mini LED TV had to.
Here, absolutely. When you have like a night time, very bright lights, and yes, that's where mini LED is going to dim the highlights to not show you blooming. That's where OLED is going to shine. We know that. That's for sure.
To dim down small, bright objects to achieve deeper blacks and suppress blooming, handing the advantage to OLED, whose per pixel lighting precision allow bright and dark elements to be rendered adjacent to each other without compromise. To wrap up, I'm extremely excited about the 4th generation primary RGB tandem OLED panel.
Here you see the marketing, primary. This is not HDTV's fault. This is the marketing from LG. Primary RGB tandem. That is confusing, to say the least, because it's not an RGB OLED. You get what I'm saying? They are not lying, but it is. It leads you to believe it is something that it is not. See, it's confusing. Yeah, if you watch this video and you go deep into it, you will understand what's going on. But where in this whole video, where did you hear, or from the marketing material, where did you hear it is a WRGB OLED? It is nowhere. Like, they don't tell you it is WRGB anywhere. So for a regular consumer, they are going to think, oh, this is something completely different, and it's now so much better, and it is still a WRGB OLED, and it's still going to have some of those issues and limitations, like, you know, the metameric issues and stuff like that. Maybe if you look at it off angle, it's gonna be like kind of pink and kind of weird looking, like it's not the real thing. So I don't like this marketing here.
Panel from LG Display, not least because it arguably represents the most significant leap forward in the evolution of WOLED TV technology, with peak brightness touching 4000 nits for the first time, albeit at panel native white point, alongside an expansion of color gamut to cover 83% of PT 2020, and power consumption even going down by 20%. The first OLED television publicly advertised to be using primary RGB tandem technology has been announced at CES 2025.
Oh wait, that's the Panasonic. That's the Panasonic. I know that for the stand and the speaker here. That's the Panasonic Z95B.
And you can watch it.
Again, that's 144 Hertz. Very important. G5, 165, that's the one for gaming.
Our coverage video by clicking here.
There you go. So that's the whole video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.